down tonight, boys, because we want to get in and get out. We have Gov, me, and Mike, the old crew, the OGs, the old men. We might be feeling a little tired tonight, Mike. We're trying to get in and get out, but we have some good topics for the people. What's going on, Gov? I want to make sure they can hear you, man, with our new setup here.
Oh yeah, how's everyone doing? How's everyone feeling?
We're trying. Yeah, we're trying out some new features and new video platforms. So in the next couple of weeks, we can decide which one, if any, we want to go premium with. So we're trying out some different softwares and some different techniques in terms of that. But I want to bring the guys on because, for one, we didn't know if sports was going to stay interesting enough to watch these games. And then it brought up a greater point is it good basketball to have these games every other night? Like, is it the 3 point variance? Like, what's causing all these blowouts? Because we've seen a record high blowouts this season. I think we've seen the most 20-point games decided in NBA history, which I think last year we saw 18 games decided by 20 points or more in the playoffs, and we're already at 22, and we're not even at the finals.
Real quick update, live update. There is a leak in the Dallas Mavericks arena, and it's
Yeah, I was just gonna break with that too, Mike. I just didn't
it's
want
causing a puddle, and I don't know when this second half's going to start because if you they got players doing a soccer juggling drill. Like, I don't know if you guys know what the soccer juggling is, but it's like hacky sack, but they're doing with the basketball.
to.
Yeah, they're trying to figure out a little contraption to try and catch this. Huh, that is so neat. If that's what I think it is, it looks like it's like a tarp with a little funnel in the to catch to catch with the leak. But you could see it at one point just dripping. But all right, enough about that because they'll fix it. But I guess we got a little bit of a wait for the second half, so flip it over to hockey. But to answer your question, so that it was the question of sorry, repeat. I know what it was, but it was the coaching. No, not the coaching.
No, it's
the 3-point shot.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you blame the modern the blowouts on the 3 point shot? Is it the lack of rest that these players are getting because they're having to play every other night? Like, what's the cause of it? Because last year we saw 15 blowouts by 20 points or more, and now we're already at 22, and we're not even at the finals.
Yeah, it's disappointing because it just makes these games unentertaining to watch, and I found myself like not even caring, happy to just be like, oh, I'll go to bed. I don't need to watch the end of this. This is over. And normally I'm the type that always feels like 20-point comebacks are still possible, but like these series, the way the games have been being played, and it's also been a factor of just guys, at least in the Celtics Heat series, there's a different lineup every night for both teams with injuries. So we're getting different games, and it has been weird that, especially the last game where they just jumped out to I think it was like 18-1 or something like that. It was a stupid early huge lead because Miami just couldn't hit a bucket for for anything.
Yeah.
I don't know if Gov wants to get in on that question next. I don't need to keep talking.
Yeah, I just see this is how the NBA is now because like they used to play more games back to back. It used to be a title schedule. Things were rougher back then, and there was the 3-point shot. So like the 3-point shot might have something to do with it because there are more higher scoring games now. but like it's weird because there's plenty of guys I know who can't even hit normal jumpers, much less threes. And so, like, I don't know if that has a whole lot to do with it. These blowouts just seem to be from like there's teams you see that don't get blown out, and they try, and they're teams, and even if they don't have a stud, but a lot of these like stars and scrubs teams, it's like if LeBron and AD aren't playing well, no one on that team is trying to pick it up and win that game, and that team's losing by 20. Like, and even in these playoffs, like too often, it's like you're down 15 in the second half. The stud's not having a good night. You kind of they give up. It's just what I see. Guys just take the quarter off.
Yeah.
And like I don't know why there's that mentality now. That just seems to be like, well, if we can't win now, we'll win later. No, you should be trying to win until the last goddamn second. I don't care if you're down 20.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. There is a little bit of quitting, guys. Sometimes I'm not accusing the Heat of that last night by any means, because that's the last team that I think would do that. I think Jimmy Butler's playing hurt, and he's not going. You know, he's obviously hurt. If they sat him out for inflammation, in the last game or the previous game, second half, like that was just the biggest shock to me that they pulled him and said he's not even going to play the second half. I mean, I don't think they're making it up or anything like that. Like if they're pulling Jimmy Butler in the second half of a game and saying, hey, we think you shouldn't play at all because of this inflammation, then it's probably a big deal. And so I get that he probably said, hey, I'm playing this next game. Like, you can't make me sit out. But I don't give him any like slack or, you know, anything like that for maybe saying at halftime or early second half, all right, we're down 30. I'm not exerting my full. There's no way I'm going to try and make this injury worse when we're down 30. You know, and even it sucks to say it, but even down like 20 in the first half, you're probably thinking like, all right, do I really want to just like, how much energy would I have to exert to come back from 20, which they were basically down in the first 5 minutes? I think that's a lot to ask a guy who's probably pretty hobbled more than he's leading on. And I'm basing that just off the fact that the teams, you know, sat him in the second half. He didn't want to sit the second half. I don't think there's any way Jimmy Butler said, hey, we got a pretty good lead. Like, these guys got it. Jimmy Butler is not that type of guy. But I'll let somebody else hop in. Is anybody else on the show? Oh, might just be me. I guess I just got carried away talking, and
I'm here, Mike.
oh, there he is. All right.
I thought I could go off screen to grab a spoon for my coffee, and it decided to. When I guess I closed my video, it decided that I don't get audio anymore. So I was saying though, Mike, I really do believe that there's a difference between giving up and throwing in the towel, which might be what the Warriors do because the ceiling's still leaking, by the way, and just like giving up completely and then learning to fight another day. Being down so much, I think it's smart for Jimmy to decide, hey, let's fight another day. We have the lead in this series. Me and Kyle are coming off of injuries. like let's learn to fight another day. I want to mention though, talking about injuries, we also might be without White tomorrow. It looked like he grabbed his hamstring late in that game, didn't return. Also, Robert Williams was seen with a big, like, compression like thing on his leg and did not return. Now, they said it was because of the blowout in the score margin, but this device he had on his leg, Mike, was ginormous, and it was obviously there for a reason, and it was obviously there to probably protect the swelling. If the extra day of rest really does give us a better competitive series, and the star players can play more, I'm in favor of it. I know as a fan, we want like basketball, and we want you know it to be consistent, so that every other night is really fun for us. But I also want to see the best of the best, like Ric Flair style. Be the man, you got to beat the man. I don't want time or you know. But then part of me says, well, damn it, that's part of the game. Like injuries are part of it, right? And if you're LeBron James and you're these athletes making all this money, invest in your body, invest in your health. Put
They
down
do
the.
do it, though. A lot of them do, I think.
No, but I'm saying like maybe that's a skill set. Like staying healthy. Is that something that we should reward by, or is it all luck based? I don't know what the answer is. I think this is a cool conversation because I don't think there is a right and wrong answer. I think it's just a good conversation to have, but I don't know if there's like a for sure way to fix it. Because you want to get viewers and you want to keep excitement, and that means you got to play more often than not. But also, you want to give players rest. Like what if Robert Williams doesn't play tomorrow's game because that injury actually is a like legit injury? Because this device on his leg was not small, Mike. It wasn't
Well,
like he
he's
was.
missed. He's missed. He's been on and off every other game. Like
On or off because of knee
he's
soreness.
he's got an injury. It's
all playoffs.
I know, and it's gotten worse. Like I don't know if he plays tomorrow, but it's gotten worse. The fact he had like a big balloon device on his leg was not good, and he's been a true X factor in the series. So if they don't got him, that's huge.
yeah.
It really is.
It is a big factor. He is a huge factor in the series. I'll give you that. I feel like I've seen that device on him though before. It's not something new.
Well, that would be new to me, so that would be good to know.
I think you're right with like as a fan, obviously I want these guys to play every other night just so that there's games every night. I don't want to it once we get to the playoffs like there should be games every night. I get when it's the finals, I don't want them to play back to back. But like
Why not,
like
Mike?
we're at now, I want game, Eastern Conference one night, West the other night. And I get once, one series is over, then there's going to be days off. But, as a fan, I want that. But I get it if you're telling me definitively you can prove that if we gave these guys, that extra day twice in a series for the travel day. I'm okay with that. If you really wanted to do that and you can prove it, or even if you didn't, I'm okay with that. But at the same time, these guys are playing 3 to 4 games every week as it is all season long.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're playing five games in a week. So they've got back to backs, or they're at least playing 4 games a week plenty of times, half the time. And so there's back to backs all season, and they just do this all season. So what I really think we should probably do is shorten the regular season, or I actually just short. I was going to say extend it, but just shorten the regular season Go with that 60, 65, 70 game season. I don't care that the records will change because no one. It's not like Major League Baseball where people really care about the home run record or the points record. Maybe you'll get there because your career will last longer because you only play 60 something games a year. Maybe you'll play till you're 42.
Well, I do think though, Mike, the NFL or the NBA does care about the revenue. And
That's true, but
there is a legacy marker when you do lower your game totals. Like I do think it would hurt the legacy, not just like
just drop a 10.
No,
Save these guys' legs for the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's what we all want to see. We don't want to see this series where it's gone in the Miami Celtics series.
I think we're going to see that with coaches anyways. I think a lot more coaches are more inept to the rest, that, hey, our star players are going to take 20 games off a night, and we'll try to let you fans know, you season ticket holders know when that is. But we're just going to take 20 games off a night, There's going to be stagnant.
Right. They're doing it now, and it's apparently not working for some of these teams. Like you're still having to figure it out night by night who's going to play.
Gov, let me get you back in this conversation. What if Shaq? That'd be good then. What if Shaq said, "Well, I can't shoot threes, so therefore we should get rid of the 3-point line"? Do you think there is a skill to staying healthy, or do you think it is all luck based?
I mean, there's not. I don't think it's luck based.
Okay.
But there's no skill to staying healthy. Because, people were healthy. There were plenty of guys who played healthy in the past. All this technology that people are using, if anything, it's showing people that they can maybe extend their life, and that by taking this time off.
And again,
as opposed to the guys who are willing or maybe not knowing that from 50 on, they're going to have a really hard life because of their body being dead, but they can still get 15, 20 years out of it, not doing all this extra stuff that LeBron and guys like that are doing to play to their 40.
So do you think
there were guys who were just willing to gut through it and for whatever they wanted to get out of their careers?
So a guy like Tom Brady, there is no skill to staying healthy?
I feel like if Tom Brady had the will to, he'd still be playing, whether he was doing his Brady thing or not. Whether he all ate the avocados or whatever, didn't have strawberries or anything like he does. I feel like if he had the will, he'd still be playing just like he is now.
So you just think,
would his body have already given up on him
mm-hmm.
where he couldn't play? Maybe. And maybe that's what this stuff is doing. But Tom Brady's not a good example because nothing he's doing has told him to not play. Whereas in other sports, doing the same stuff is telling them to take games off. Jordan never took games off. We never took games off.
I guess that's
they played every game they could in the regular season.
I guess that's the greater question.
Maybe one or two. The Spurs were the first to start it, but Bird didn't take games off. The Pistons didn't that just didn't happen until early 2000s, about the time of the. So that's why I can't really blame it on the 3-point line because it all happened about the same time.
Well, no, I'm not saying
3-point line, and people started playing healthier and taking rest days.
I'm not saying that. What I was making the correlation to is I think there is a skill set to staying healthy. I think carrying less body fat is a skill that you can do to stay more healthy. I think having better medicine is not only just a modern technological advancement, but I do think certain players utilize it smartly and know how to decipher analytics about health, which which then becomes a mathematical equation in which they can use it as a skill set. The only reason I brought up the 3 was to say, like, if DeAndre Ayton can't shoot a good 3-point percentage, it doesn't mean we get rid of the 3-point line. He either puts that into his game or he doesn't. I think injuries are a skill set, and I do think you can strengthen or weaken them. But it sounds like to me that you think injuries are just genetic.
Yeah, basically. Like some people are just more prone to injury based off of genetics, and nothing. Like, could you limit them and increase your career by doing a lot of this, all the new medical stuff and the right, like, rest things and the right sleep schedule and all that? Yeah, but I like that. You're talking about the kind of thing that turns a dude who would have been a top 100 player into a top 70 player. The guys who are going to be LeBron doesn't need to do that to be LeBron. LeBron needs to do that to be LeBron for 25 years instead of 18.
See, I would argue with you that LeBron James is that guy because of his physique, because of his physicality,
because of his genetics.
Which, of course, genetics play a factor, just like genetics play a factor in Ja Morant being able to dunk or not. But it's still a skill set that Ja Morant had to learn.
Well, yes, he learned a skill set in basketball. I'm not saying anything like that, but Ja Morant's a good thing. The way his skill set that he has developed is going to cause him to not play 3 to 4 years in the NBA because he genetically cannot keep up with that.
That's an opinion based.
He's already had 4 knee injuries through college until now. He's only 2 years in.
Yeah, but
he's had to miss significant time. He needs to completely change his skill set, or no amount of helping medically is going to help him.
See, I disagree.
LeBron genetically had the ability to do a whole bunch of stuff. Now, has he extended his career by being smart with it? Yes.
See, that's where
LeBron could have still been prime LeBron for basically what he was.
That's why I'd be curious to see the fans of our show in the comment section because I am of the opposite opinion of you. I agree with you. It's genetics. We just disagree on the percentage. Like, I think it's at this level, I think everyone is talented in the NBA, for example. So, I think genetics play like a 30 or 40% chance of injury. But I think at least 60% of injuries is based on how well you take care of your body, what you do, what kind of trainers you put around you, what kind of friends, how much sleep you're getting, that kind of stuff. I think all that matters. And I just think you're opposite. But a lot like this podcast.
I would honestly have that flipped.
Yeah.
Almost exactly flipped. I think it's more like you can tell when the guys who come from the good families who just clearly they've been doing their bodies look right for playing in the NBA and for the skill set they're trying to do.
To get back,
and then you add them being smart and playing well around that, which some guys don't.
Right.
Some guys look amazingly talented and genetically, and then just they never learn how to shoot or they never learn how to drive and finish.
Right.
They're just they're dumb with it. So even if they stay healthy, they're just not great polished players.
Well, you guys,
it's like a 3-way triangle between what's your genetic baseline, which is the most important thing, and then the last 40% is a mix between your your skill and your talent, sort of.
Or your body.
I would say it's a 3-way between skill, talent, and whatever luck of the draw with genetics.
Right. No,
it's a 3-way street, and I would say genetics is a majority of it for the guys in the NBA. There's Luka's probably the one guy who I'm not sure how genetically he doesn't look like the most athletic dude on the court, but his ability and his skill and talent are amazing.
If he loses 10 to 15 pounds, similar to what Jokic did when he went back to his country, I think that's what makes him the difference between a superstar and that Mount Rushmore of MVP. And that's kind of to my point. I do think it's a skill set. I do think it's something that you can hone. And he's got to do a better job of it. He's got to do a better job getting more sleep, eating more. Like, I'm not saying I know the answer, but I do think there is more science and nuance and analytics to it than you're giving it credit for. But we're getting further away from the main question, and I don't think we got your answer. So I'm curious because you're such a good deep thinker, Gov. How do you fix the NBA problem, or is there a problem at all with how it goes? Like, we talk about genetics and individual injuries, but like, how do we make this game entertaining and keep a pace, whether that's 3 games, in 4 nights, whether however you want to do it. What do you do to make these games more competitive, essentially?
I mean, honestly, like, I don't hate the game. I like all these competitive games. I think a lot of these games are competitive. The problem is guys quit. Like, I see that all too often. I'm going to go back to that. I will stand on that. The reason we have these blowouts is because teams just they literally just concede in the middle of a game. And I don't know why there's not enough Kobe's and Jordan. Like, we need a few more Kobe's and Jordans in the league who are willing to just like they would rather down 20 foul out in an aggressive fashion where a ref has to throw them out the game than lose by 20. And there's no one in the league who does that. No one. Even Draymond's probably the closest. He's trying to be fun with.
You gotta check this free throw out.
No one with that kind of
This
aggressive.
is hilarious. Sorry to interrupt.
None of the stars. That's the problem. The stars have a horrible attitude. And that's what needs to change in the NBA. You give me 1 or 2 stars who, during the regular season, play 40 minutes a night because I'm winning this game just because of that mentality, we might see some stuff. No one does that. Not a damn person.
Hey, man.
LeBron, Butler, Tate, not a damn person plays.
I like the dog.
They rest even in the games they play.
I like the dog mentality, Gov, but there is a point where you got to.
I had to have Jason Tatum prove to me in this playoffs that he's even got dog in him.
But you're a donkey if you play that way in today's NBA. You want to save your bark for when it matters, man.
And I'm done watching donkey NBA.
Well, this is right, with these guys quitting. It is donkey NBA.
Dogs, everyone's acting like a fucking donkey. And if everyone's gonna play like, and all these stars playing like ass. Like that's why I like the Warriors. They play like a team. They have grit. None of us right here think that they're out of it. That they're not gonna try to come back from 20.
So
what is it? It's 15 still. Like none of us.
25.
I don't think there's another team in the league down 20 that we think is coming back from 20.
I would say
the only team, but they got to play some defense, and they're playing some, but
they have a certain way.
Gotta.
But we believe that they can and will try to do that. There's not another team.
I don't know that they will. They might wrap it up and know that they can go home and be like, we're not losing 4 in a row to Dallas.
Yeah, I think
no one knows. Like, they're not, like, Dallas has lost the series. They're down 3-0. They're not winning 4 straight. Like, I sort of thought
Golden State knows that too, though.
Memphis and come out flat, but like it looks like they kind of did in the first half. But like if they try here in the third, like they've been, like and keep it close. It's what, 13-point game right now.
Like Dallas needs to give their A game to beat Golden State. And so what Golden State's saying, all right, we took Dallas's A game right now. And they're not saying it right just yet, but give it and like they're still playing good defense. So I'm liking what I'm seeing. They might make that run, but I mean, they're still down 21 right now. But
yeah, they're still down 20.
But I was just going to say I don't know. It's just I could see them saying, "Yeah, we took their best punch. We took their A game tonight. They're not going to give their A game 4 straight nights. We'll beat them one of these other nights, and we're good."
Home in Golden State. Like that's what I thought. I thought they might come out flat, lose this game, and then they finish it off in Golden State in Game 5.
What's funny is I think the
I
same.
was worried about it, but I did think they would come back down only 15. But then that water leak.
Yeah, who
Go ahead,
knows what
Logan.
Well, I do think the same thing about the Heat, but the Heat don't get the same kind of respect, and I get why because they don't have the pedigree. No, I like the dog mentalities, the Kobe's, the Jimmy's, but like I think it is smart to save yourself these days a bit. Like I don't know if playing all 82 games makes you tough. I think being tough and ready to go for the playoffs is more important. I would agree. I am disappointed in how some of these guys have come out, especially how the Bucks came out in their last game. Because I really do think the Bucks and Warriors were the best team if we were talking about the best, like, single game elimination, like who's going to win, I think we would be looking at Bucks Warriors. But
fully healthy, yeah.
But yeah, because remember Middleton's a bigger deal.
He was very versatile for the Bucks. Them losing him, they lost a lot of depth on the wing, scoring and defense.
So you guys stopped me because there was another topic that you guys know I was going to get to, but there's a couple headlines I was going to bring up, and if you guys want to add to it, you can. I was going to mention that John Hamm was the reason I met Kobe. He was good friends with my coach at the time, because he started out with the Pistons as an assistant when I knew him, and then he went on to draft Giannis, and now he's over with the Orlando Magic, and that's why that them getting the first overall pick could be interesting because he likes those kind of genetic, kind of freaky guys. So keep an eye on John Hamm, who helps run that organization. I was also going to mention, in case you guys don't know, one of the best shooting coaches in the entire league, coaches with the Pelicans, and is a big component of why Brandon Ingram was able to turn his shooting around. So they're not afraid to draft a younger player as well that can't shoot. So they're looking at more of a defensive player. But one of the main topics I was going to mention was the guy who drafted Jokic and ran and put together a lot of that Denver team, including Michael Porter Jr. and Murray, went over to the Timberwolves and is really excited about Edwards. So keep an eye on Edwards for any of you fantasy people next year. He went over there and is now running their basketball organization. But I was going to end tonight on a fun topic, guys. I'm sure Mike will get back in here. He knows what's coming. So in lieu of the Mavericks winning by so much and putting on such a performance, the broadcast reminded me that Jason Kidd took the job 9 days after retiring. What fun sports athlete of the last year to 2 years could you see retiring and being successful in sports? So it could be basketball, football, like any names jump out to you as like a fun prospect?
Well, Logan, I'm going to throw it back to you since you knew the question. Give Go some time to think about it and me a little more, but you answer the question first. Who's your guy that you think would be that great stepping coach like Jason Kidd?
So I've given this a lot of thought, and I'll actually buffer for you guys longer because I actually came up with it for multiple sports. So in basketball, I think the two top choices for me would be Haslam, who I think could have a Juwan Howard-like impact on a team. So like what he's doing over at Michigan, I think Haslam could do for almost anything in the NBA, but especially the Eastern Conference teams. He looked really energized by coaching Plus, he has like a Tim Tebow like pose for the entirety of the game. So he's already got the coaching stance down. He takes like one knee. It's pretty impressive. Shows he's still got some flexibility. Looks like he's ready to run track at any moment. If you guys haven't noticed, but the other guy would be Chris Paul. I think he gets a lot of like he's doing these State Farm commercials and he's getting a lot of publicity for being funny. But I actually think like he could be better than Steve Nash, like in that kind of Steve Nash role, but like pretty good. And I actually think Steve Nash, speaking of Nash, is good. They just used him as a scapegoat. So that's not a slight comparing him to Nash, just so you guys know. I think Nash would actually be a good coach if he's actually given him a chance. I just think the Nets are kind of scapegoating him at this point. For football, of all the guys that could retire and coach, who would be, I think, a good coach, and this might catch you off guard, and I think it would have a lot to do with his injuries and just like his compassion, but also his motivation would be Todd Gurley. I could see Todd Gurley being a really good motivator and a good head coach. But also, speaking of which, this is actually like a legit offer that I saw. Pete Carroll wants Adrian Peterson to retire and coach the running backs this season. So with that, I'll actually kick it over to one of you guys.
Adrian Peterson's gonna tell these guys, "Hey man, just run like a fucking beast. Just run over people and run real fast."
He does need.
See, if I'm thinking about this, I want someone who I know was at least a at worst sub all-star is who I'm thinking, depending on the sport. Because it's got to be a good player. Maybe not like the Bradys or the GOATs or whatever of the sport, but a good player. Mm-hmm. And I also would want them to be intelligent because they need to be able to transition from playing to just talking and strategy about it. My first thought from the NBA, just because what I've seen from them, and maybe I'm a little biased because I watch a lot of this stuff after living in the West Coast for a while, I think Iguodala could easily just transition to a coach for the Warriors.
That's a good
I've
one.
already seen Wiggins and talking to Poole and talking to those guys on the bench. He could easily transition to being a coach for the Warriors. I would not be surprised about that. He was always a good player in Philly. He's a Finals MVP. Like, he's a solid player, and he's very smart.
It's a great call.
Yeah. NFL, I sort of see the same thing in, like, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Very intelligent. Guy who people like this guy. They listen to him. They listen to Iguodala. I think they'd listen to Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
And he would have something to bring to the table if he became like a quarterback's coach.
No, it's true. True. Those were two good ones, actually, because I was thinking the same thing. I would want a guy who's really smart and just I was just trying to think to myself, like, who is a guy that stood out to be like super intelligent, like blew everyone away, and Fitzpatrick's a good one because, again, you had alluded to, he's got to be like better than better than average or whatever I think you said.
People have always been like, well, Ryan Fitzpatrick has gotten the job because he's not that.
I didn't put that precursor to it. I just said, like, you could be the best of the best, but I'm thinking Peyton Manning. The way I listened to him talk about football on those podcasts, and granted, like, that's why I think he'd be a great coach too, because he's got everyone's respect, first of all. And then he's got that sense of humor where he's funny. He's off the cuff, like, funny too. Like, he's quick. It's not all scripted with him. Like, obviously his commercials are, but he's got a funny side to him. There's no doubt about it. But I would take if he wanted to do it. I would if I'm an NFL owner, I wouldn't say blank check because that's too crazy, but I don't know
Well,
what the run rate is for NFL coaches, but give him a good deal if he wants to play, and give him like 4 or 5 year contract and say you can coach my young quarterback and have full head coaching responsibilities too. Because I think Peyton, to the way he was so like he is, I think the pioneer of over analyzing and just like studying the defense, and I'm going to do all these audibles and all that. Like he changed the game like Steph Curry changed the game in a way. Like I'm not trying to say he's better than Brady because Brady's done his thing and he's proven he's won the games. And I know it's a team game, but as far as a coach, like maybe Peyton would be even better as a coach because maybe he just wasn't as talented as other people. He just worked harder. Because when you listen to him and those, when he actually starts to break down a play or something like that, he's on a different level. And Tony Romo's great at pre-calling the snap, knowing what they're going to run. Like that's different level. But Peyton is, he's so fun to listen to on those broadcasts because you really get just great info and his feedback.
speaking of great info, Mike, let me jump in and actually update you on the rumor that I had heard. So it looks like the Mannings as a unit want to try to buy a team, and then all three of them try to run the team. Maybe four if you count Cooper. So it would be Manning, Archie, and then Eli, and then Cooper.
I mean,
And
they should be able to afford it between the four of them.
they definitely would. And they were looking at Denver and the Saints.
And then they can draft young Arch, Cooper's son.
Right. These are like they were thinking about buying it, I guess, from the Bensons a couple years ago at the Saints, and then just recently when the Denver Broncos kind of went through their transition, they were in the mix to buy it. So these are legit things. So you guys didn't mention the Adrian Peterson thing. Do you actually think that's like legit? Do you think he'd actually be good at it?
I doubt that.
I have no idea.
He does need the money. I will say that.
Yeah, I can't speak on that either. I have no idea what
That's been reported multiple times that he is like in a lot of the player union type writing too, like the player empowerment type websites have reported based on his financial troubles. That's one of the reasons he kept playing so late in his career.
All right. Well, Adrian Peterson should be able to have a job in the NFL for as long as he needs to because he was such a superstar and like the NFL should always take care of its stars like that. If they're willing to work in any capacity, coaching, just like spokespersonship, like especially a legend like Adrian Peterson, if he's in some type of financial struggle, like they have so much fucking money, it's disgusting. There's no reason guys like that, even if they were, and I don't even want to speculate. So, like, even if they just had bad fortune and lost all their money or something like that, the NFL should take care of those guys, especially if, like, he's willing to coach. Great. You should have a career job as a coach, even if he sucks forever, just based on legacy. run fucking hard, run people over. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Like that's all he should say.
Gov, I want to give you the last segment here, but I have to say, and I know we mention it all the time, Mike, but it's it's such a great parallel, and I know the UFC messes up with their fighter pay, but I have to mention because Mike mentioned that taking care of your stars. It's one thing Dana White really does well, because if you don't know, Forrest Griffin was having a real hard time retiring, like because that's all he known was fighting for a long time, and that's all he thought he was good at. And so, like from all reports, he went to Dana basically crying, saying like, "I don't want to retire. I never want to retire. I'd rather die in the cage." And I remember Dana going to a press conference and being like, "Look, I'm going to give Forrest Griffin a job for life, and he will never have to work again in his life. And he wants to do something every day for the company, so I'm going to let him." And he just basically gave him money. And I don't know if you know this, but Forrest Griffin was one of the main reasons they had that Fighter Institute facility. He helped build it because he gave them a lot of his knowledge in terms of what kind of machines and what kind of recovery and what kind of training, tools and state-of-the-art equipment they would need.
You hear about that from every UFC fighter, how incredible the UFC Fighter Institute is. The Apex Fighter Institute in Vegas, they say incredible things about that. And
so that's basically what he did. He wrote him a blank check, essentially. I mean, not really a blank check, but pretty much a blank check, and said, like, "Here's your new project. Tell us what equipment a fighter would need." Because he was open and honest about it. He said, "Without Forrest Griffin and Stephan Bonner, the UFC wouldn't exist. And so I'm not going to let a guy kill himself for that." And secondly, he also did the same thing for Chuck, the Iceman Liddell. He fronted him a ton of money to help the Iceman retire, hoping he would never fight again. And he broke that promise and ended up fighting again. And I wanted to mention, Mike, this is the reason why the NFL should do it and other leagues should take notice. Diego Sanchez just fought Kevin Lee in some like bullshit fight the other day, and I'm like, part of me was like, "Oh, you know those names, the marquee names, watch it." And I'm like, "Nope, I'm not doing it, because then I'm just supporting Diego fighting some more, and I don't think he should."
He already fought again, though. I thought he did well.
I'm saying, like, he shouldn't. Like, that kid's.
But I thought if he did well, then he's not that washed as people said. I know there's weird stories with him, and like it's I don't even know what to believe with all the stories, because there's so much, and I probably wouldn't even be able to put it together for everybody, and I'd get things mixed up too. So I don't even want to talk about it. But
I'll talk about it, but later on when I've done more research. Just know I don't think he should be fighting, in my opinion. So I couldn't support it, even though it might have been a good fight between him and Kevin. They just fought. There you go.
It's on YouTube. It came up my news feed, and I actually thought it was an old fight, so I was like, "Oh, no, never mind." But I did just see that this morning.
So, Gov, do you have any topics you want to bring up? I have a couple more quick hitters. I was just going to hit the people with, and then if you guys want,
to keep going with them, because I was just looking at the game, 20-point game. Like, all right.
Okay, so some quick hitters since we've been on last. Juwan Howard said no to the Lakers, that he thought the Michigan job fit his personality and style better, and so he thought the Michigan job was better for him.
It totally is.
Which I admire him for being honest about, and I do think it's a good fit. So
I'd say that, not saying that he can't be an NBA head coach. I'm saying that he shouldn't be the Lakers coach.
No, he will be an NBA coach, I do believe. I really do believe that.
But he should be at Michigan until the right job.
Do you guys believe that Becky Hammond will ever coached in the league. I think she is so smart and so talented, and I think I just think she should be given a chance.
I think she should be given a chance. I think she has the respect of the players simply because she coached in the NBA for so long. Like, first of all, she's a phenomenal player. She had a great career as a player, but
Mhm.
then she went and she paid her dues as an assistant. And then I think there would be enough players around the league to, for any of these young players who, don't know her as well or whatever, like, there's going to be enough players who have her back when she gets that job
Yeah,
that she's gonna have the voice of the control of the team. Like, she's gonna have everyone's ear. She's gonna be a legit head coach. It's not gonna matter that she's a female.
I don't know. And it shouldn't.
If you just had taken some other WNBA coach who's just I don't know a single WNBA coach, male or female. Personally, I just don't watch it enough, but
I think Candace
um
Parker could do it down the line.
Same, but she's a commentator on TNT sometimes, and she's even more of a star than Becky Hammond was as a player. She was uh she was a star in college. Like, everyone knew she was going to be, um, you know, Maya Moore to me was the best college female basketball player I'd ever seen in my life. She reminded me of Jordan, to be honest. She just had that killer instinct swag
I,
where I am going to finish you. And
I do have
and
to,
credit to her, she did that in her second career as a lawyer.
yeah, I was gonna say I do have a cool story. She became a lawyer, didn't she? And then she started fighting for people on death row. She
Yep.
she actually
It
got
turned out to be her future husband. She ended up marrying the guy, which I think is an awesome story. It's like a family friend. It's someone I think she knew her whole life, and, like, credit to her, she gave up her whole WNBA career
in
to fight
fact,
for justice,
I'm
like,
so
to fight for what was right, and she threw away millions. Um, or I don't even know that WNBA players get paid millions, so I shouldn't say that, but, like, she was the best of the best. I swear, like Candace Parker and Maya Moore, at least in college, were like Diana Taurasi in
yeah.
the same breath, all in
Lisa,
the same breath.
Lisa Leslie might be like the Bill Russell of that group. Like maybe she's not as talented, but she was one of the first ones.
Right.
But I
Yeah.
also this would be a good transition, Mike. I was gonna say, so we do these live kind of like shoot the shit the games on barbershop type shows. Going forward though, I want to do an emotional series where I like do uh sports to like sports that matter, kind of like the play. I don't know if you've ever read, but like they have a newspaper or like it's an online article now where players will write in their own words, like articles and stories. And I kind of want to profile some of those and some of those profile stories about how sports interact. I'm going to actually make the pledge. The first episode will be about mine because I do love that story. And so I don't know if Mike wants to join. I don't know how exactly I'm going to do it, but it's going to be like an hour-long podcast, and we're just going to dive right into that topic, and we're going to do it as detailed as possible. But to do something like that, I got to do a ton of research. So these will just pop up like once a month when I finally get them rolling. But I promise Maya Moore will be the first one that we do. You got my word on that. It's an awesome story. It really is. So, anything else you guys want to mention?
Well, this game is getting interesting.
It is. By the way,
Golden State would cut it down, but
Tim Duncan. I was just gonna say Tim Duncan is
not that interesting yet, but we'll hang on for. Let's wait till it gets to like 4 minutes left and see where we're at, because I feel like Golden State's gonna say, "Hey, if we get a 30-point come from behind win, that's that's the stuff of legends."
You do have
finished the sweep with a 30-point comeback in the fourth. They were down 29, so if they win, and Dallas is, I mean, they did just make a couple free throws, but they are seemingly giving them. Luca's.
Dallas does go cold like the Bucks go cold sometimes offensively. But to your Becky Hammond point, I don't know if you know, you probably do. Tim Duncan is on that staff as well. And I think if Becky Hammond became the head coach of the Spurs, Tim Duncan would stay on that staff. And I wouldn't be surprised if Popovich did a Bruce Arians-like scenario where he holds on long enough that they basically can't hire any of the other good coaches and basically forces them to hire one of their assistants, like Tampa did with Todd Bowles. And it's like, okay, I held on, but I'm actually going to retire. So you have to hire Tim or Becky and kind of let them run the show.
Yeah, and but in that case, I feel like they would probably give it to Tim Duncan, and I get that too. So I'm not like, how do you not give it to Tim Duncan?
Or maybe because I don't know if you remember, but there was like 6 or 7 years ago, Jeannie Buss actually offered Phil Jackson an opportunity to coach like home games, and then another person would coach away games. Maybe that would work with Popovich and Tim Duncan. I mean, we did see some of that this last season. I mean, so you say, well, there hasn't been much of a precedent, but they did do some of it this last season. Also,
he's looking like he's got something bothering him, like injury wise, groin. He keeps grabbing his nuts. Honestly,
well, he's been grabbing
a couple plays ago. He grabbed his knee. It looked like, and now he's just like, yeah, he's just. Oh, okay. Did he take a nut shot?
He might have. But he's been grabbing.
No, I think he might have just pulled something. Actually, it didn't. On on the second replay, it didn't look like there was any contact.
But I was gonna say, Mike, he's been babying that side of like the leg and groin for a long time. It might have just finally gave out. What's your opinion? Because you walked away.
I think I think he's complaining to the refs that he might have taken a nut shot at some point. Because I don't know, just reading the body language. He was talking to the ref. I couldn't read the lips, but
Well, Mike, you walked away from me and Gov's conversation, and we were on polar opposites. So I would love to hear your opinion on it.
On what?
Gov thinks that injuries are mostly genetic, and like where I think like if you trim up and you stay in shape and you do some of these things, that and staying healthy is more of a skill set. Where do you fall on that argument? I opened it up to our community as well. So like people like Rob and Double J and some of these people who leave comments, CJ can leave comments this week, and that'll be our big comment kind of conversation. But where do you fall?
I think it's a little bit in the middle. I know that's like a cop out answer, but I believe in both. Like I believe in thinking that go ahead.
I said it was 60-40, and Gov basically said it was flipped.
I mean, I don't know the.
Yeah, I have it at 60-40 that it's genetic and that the health stuff might help extend your career. But if you were going to have a major injury, it was going to blow out whether you were sleeping right or not.
And I think part of it can be just the fact.
Job playing is going to get injured no matter what. That's just genetics. He can't play that way and not get injured. Why is it like 40?
Yeah, I think some some bodies are just built different. But
yeah, and there's like
guys
that are LeBron and that stuff. And like they are different.
Yeah, but I think he also does the right things and he tries to keep his body lean. It did great for him for a long time, and also at the same time he's played a lot of minutes, and it's kind of catching up with him too. So
see, and my argument was if LeBron didn't do those things, his career probably would have ended at like 15 to 17 years instead of being 20 years.
No, I agree. But is it genetics or was it his diet and physical regimen? Like what did he do to train and stuff like that? I'm not. Or was it just genetics? I think I give him credit. I give him credit for what he did. Like some of it might have been genetics, but
that's my point. It's like
I just think there's a tier of that. Like, yes, the health concerns will help, but there's a tier in genetics that's the more important thing. Like, depending on where your genetic tier is, yeah, you can do things to stay healthy, but your genetic tier might be like max it out with your health and safety and stuff, and you get a 12-year career.
Well, Gub, I just want to say
could do nothing and eat like Zion and probably play for 12 years because of his genetics. Now he'll play for 20 because he takes care of himself really well.
But not just that, he'll play at a Hall of Fame level because he takes care of his body.
Whereas some guys won't, or some guys will hit that wall at 33 and only get 7 to 10 years and then doom.
See,
even if they just hit a wall and can't play that way anymore. It might not always be that they are horribly breaking down at 50 like some of the older guys do, but like that's what the taking care of yourself will help mitigate too. And like that's what's going to happen. Like Ja will probably still be okay at 50, even if his knee injuries and stuff cause him to only play for 7 or 8 years.
But what I'm saying is Ja Morant is going to be good because he puts in the work in the gym, not because of his genetics.
Check out this Luka shot. He gets a bounce pass in the lane and just spins and it's a crazy shot.
Yeah,
that Luka magic is real. But
well, I think
Golden State answers with 3.
I think this is a Luka argument, though. I mean, I know you're saying it's genetic, and maybe Luka can't transform his body into LeBron, but he is to blame for his
Luka. Oh my gosh! He took a shot from the logo, and he missed. Oh,
Moody is heating up, by the way.
I just saw the spin move. Damn, that hurts.
Somebody has Moody in their showdown lineup, Mike.
You?
I have Moody in my showdown lineup.
Yeah, I did too.
It was looking like I needed Kuminga all game, but if Moody's going to be hitting threes right now, that helps. But then again,
I actually stayed away from this.
I knew it could blow out like this, and I should have built some 5-1 Dallas lineups.
That's why
I thought Golden State would keep it close, so I kept my lineups to 3 threes.
Okay, but I guarantee you I didn't let neither one to be dead. I put Jordan Poole in my captain spot.
I did not have him.
Which is really smart because I figured if this game blows out in any direction, Poole's going to get minutes. And I knew Otto Porter was out, and so Poole was going to get those extra minutes too. So either way, he was like the safest to get minutes. But
yeah, that's very solid move. I knew this was. I should have played it more because I knew this was going to blow out, and then I could have just played more of because I knew Kleba and Bullock and and Finney Smith were going to
They're
play.
getting back in it though. It's almost a 10-point game.
They are, and you know what the funny thing is
We're at 11.
they
Curry
ain't subbing it out.
to come right back in. It looks like Curry.
It gets better. And the funny thing is, Steve Kerr's like, I'm rolling with the guys that are making the comeback. This lineup is the team that's beating them. And, well, you guys will see very soon.
Hey man, I'll take it because
An 8-point game, ladies and gentlemen. It is an 8-point game. This
Mike,
quarter for the Warriors has been 32-11.
Mike, all I'll say is I got Poole at
I
catch.
told you can't count out the Warriors. They're going to try, even if it's
And
just
this isn't even the Warriors that we're talking about.
playing with Jordan those years. Like, he knows how to get people to try.
All right, do you guys know who's been playing this quarter? It's all right. Jordan Poole's been playing.
Yeah, I can't.
Luka,
Cool, right?
I don't even know who this. Who does he look like? Oh, I'm drawing a blank. It looks like the Spanish guy.
It's
It started with a B.
You talking about Bielitsa?
I was about to say the guys I see on the court are Bielitsa, Kuminga, Moody, Poole, and Damon Lee.
Who's the last one?
Damon
Lee.
Okay. Yeah, so Bielitsa looks like a different Spanish guy, I guess. I don't remember him with hair.
The only white dude on the court is Bielitsa.
Yeah, okay. No, who was the guy who used to play for the Spurs? He was smaller though. He was like.
Are you talking about Matt Bonner?
No, he was Spanish.
Oh, you're talking about Lou?
Benielli? No.
Bellinelli?
Oh,
You're talking about Scola.
Marco Bellinelli.
No, Marco Bellinelli. Yes, thank you.
I thought you talking about.
Get out of. He's Argentinian.
I know who you're talking about. You Bellinelli. There you go.
Bellinelli. He always hit the threes, man.
I was going to say, Scola looks like Snake.
Okay, so it looks like he's keeping some of the guys, but Steph has entered the court.
Yeah, no, at that point, you're just like, all right, we're down 8.
Steph,
We're down 8 with 3 minutes to go. You got to.
Damon Lee looks like he's come off the court for Steph.
Looks like there was a charge there. Jalen Brunson with a nice defensive play. That's why the Celtics are going to trade for him next year and have
He's a free agent.
2 best defensive point guards.
And you got to trade him like he's a free agent, buddy. He's a free agent.
Yeah. Celtics are just going to sign him. They don't have to trade. Yeah. Did I say trade?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
By the way, it looks like I'm going to win that draft I showed you this morning where I had Luka.
Nice.
Well, if the Warriors come all the way back, though, I could turn $1 into about 20. So, because I had it paired with Jordan Poole's over.
The waste.
By the way, some breaking news today.
I can't believe they challenged that. That was stupid.
Yeah, it was a bit stupid. But while we're on commercial, I want to mention breaking news. Al Michaels signed a deal with NBC and Amazon. So he'll be able to do special broadcasts with NBC.
All right, 10-point game, 3 minutes to go. Dallas has the ball.
With how
what are they going to do?
I would not be
Give
surprised
Luka.
if Elisa comes
Oh,
out
no, that's
here
Max.
in a second.
Wait, is that Luca? Yes, Luca. All right. Kicks it. Bullock with the celery stalk. Drills the 3. 13-point game. Now we got Poole bringing it up. So they're letting Poole still bring it up. Dish it to Curry, who dishes it to Wiggins with the 3.
I think that's good though, Mike, because Curry is actually better off screens. So let him run around.
No, you're right. You're right. It's just I'm yeah. I guess I hadn't been used to pool bringing it up so much.
Yeah, I like Curry and those guys.
Jalen Brunson's handles are not bad.
That's what I'm saying. The Celtics need a ball handler. They need like a Ricky Rubio type. Because when Al Horford is your second best ball handler, you got a problem.
Yeah, Jalen didn't finish, and he went for the the kick out, or no, he did go for the shot, but he didn't make it. But at the same time, that move to the basket was pretty
Good,
nice.
good effort by Curry too, because he knew he wasn't in good defensive position, nor is he a great defender, but
Oh,
he did try. And we all know trying is half of defense, and so
that's true. Ugh. I
Man.
will stay up for the rest of this game, but that's it.
yeah. By the way, guys, if we get to 100 subscribers, I know I mentioned a couple every podcast, but we are still going to do the giveaway, and I'm going to post this in some other new places. We're going to try to get this out. We've been working with some people on some collaborations, so we got some stuff coming on the pipeline. Make sure you like and subscribe to the podcast. But we are going to end the show as soon as this game's over with. It's going to be a walk off, just so you guys know.
We might be able to make it sooner here.
That'll work. What do you think about Al Michaels signing the exclusive deal and then getting out of there? I mean, he's still going to work around with him. I mean, you have to be a legendary broadcaster like Al Michaels to like sign with Amazon and then still work for NBC. That he's got.
I like Al Michaels, so I don't want to sound too
I love Al Michaels.
too insincere or too insensitive, but I honestly don't care.
But see,
Unless
it must be a big deal for both of them. And Al Michaels,
he's
he's
done
still,
soon, like I don't really care if I listen to his last broadcast or anything like that. Like
I I'm on the opposite. I think he's more important to football than maybe John Madden is, to be honest with you. Not as an NFL broadcaster, but I mean as a broadcaster in general. Because remember he did the Olympics as well, like the Miracle on Ice, and he showed more versatility than John Madden. I think in some ways he's more important.
he did Miracle on Ice, and I like that. Like, and I'll always remember Al Michaels, but I don't care that in the last year of his career he's gonna take a super payday to do a couple broadcasts. And am I going to pay for Amazon Prime just to hear Al Michaels? Hell fucking no. I don't give a shit.
You will pay for it to watch Thursday Night Football though, won't you, Mike?
Suck.
It,
Is
it's
that the only thing that's going to be broadcast on
it's 100% exclusive.
Saturday night?
Thursday, and
Oh,
the only
Thursday night?
It won't even still be on NFL Network.
the only workaround that I've heard about is if you're in Canada or if you're overseas, you will get it on the Zone channel. But all United States platforms, as of now, as reported as I know, Jeff Bezos owns all United States rights to the. Now maybe he works out a deal to simulcast with NFL, but it doesn't sound like it. They're calling it.
I don't know. I might I'll figure something out, but I probably won't pay for it. I'll go to a bar that's gonna air the like. Does he really think like if he's not gonna make it easy for bars to stream the game, So you're
Go ahead.
you're not going to be able to go out to a restaurant and watch the football
Oh,
game.
no, he'll do that.
Like then he's going to lose a lot of money.
No,
And
he'll do that.
people are not going to get like most people have Amazon Prime. I understand. I'm in the minority probably that doesn't.
Yeah, I think
I don't want I don't want to just get every fucking subscription
I feel you.
under the sun, especially and support a guy like Jeff Bezos.
I did bring that up on purpose, though, because I do think that's a fun conversation for next podcast. Whether we think that streaming is the new wave for sports and the good and the bad. So, with that being said, we're going to bring that topic up next podcast, hopefully. But with that being said, guys, good night. Have a good one. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully, you like these shorter podcasts that are more condensed and more measured as we continue on. Good night, boys.
Later.